the
turn it
same.
off, turn it back on.
Yeah. Well, Abs, been a while.
Yeah. Been a couple weeks. What's new with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on that kind of train of trying to rewire my programming. Good days and bad days, Like I went to Vancouver for work. I guess stepping back a little bit, like one of my big things was worrying about work all the time, and and so I took on this new way of thinking, and which was just don't think so much. I guess just assume that things are going to work out. Assume that the work is going to come. Assume, celebrate in the dream fulfilled, and then we got like 5 jobs prospects came through my inbox, and had a packed day in Vancouver, like mental. I had to be back the next day, so I got up at 6, got the ferry, went to Vancouver. I had 6 meetings, caught the ferry home, and which is great. Part of the problem is that I crammed so much in. It's like a full day, and driving in Vancouver is like so taxing. Like it just literally, if your battery is full by midday, your battery is like here, and you're really trying to hang on. Like it's just traffic, bumper to bumper. And then of course the next day, I get straight back to work on the property, and everything's going wrong. I'm like making the wrong measurements, cutting the wrong thing, nothing's working. And all the signs point to take a breather, and so I felt like yesterday was a bit of a fail for me because I pushed through, kept pushing and just getting frazzled. And I felt like I lost, when, I don't know if you feel like that when you change something in your life, it takes a while to settle into your DNA. And so you feel like, oh, I've tuned into the frequency. I'm totally there today. I feel like I'm right on the frequency. And then something happens, like the kids do something that makes you lose your temper or whatever it might be. And there's like, you're back to your old radio station. And I literally feel like I'm like pulling back fog, trying to find where I was. I'm like, oh, I got to get back there.
It's like when you meditate and you suddenly realize you haven't had a thought for 10 seconds, and it's like a major win. And then
the next
I
day,
would find that my thoughts would drift, and then I'd be like, shoot, I've been thinking for the last 10 minutes and didn't even know I was thinking. And you feel like, shit, I totally fucked that one up today.
Yeah, no, I really, and then the podcast that I've been listening to with all of this stuff on it had got taken down, probably because she's copyright,
Oh, okay.
because she edits them, and I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
and then I kind of this morning I was like, it's part of the whole thing is like, don't strive, like stop the striving. You don't have to. I haven't done my 500 push-ups in regards to this, whatever the task might be. Stop creating just another task. Just settle. Just be in.
Well, keep it in
place.
mind, you're undoing 50 years of programming.
Yeah. And then I started listening to his book. So this guy, who's that? Neville something.
We don't know his last name. We still don't know his last name.
Yeah, I could just look it up, but I don't know. And yeah, he is from the 50s.
Ah.
Yeah, he is from the 50s.
Interesting.
He's dead. But his book is like, it feels like I'm listening to heresy, because we were so brought up in this Christian faith, like the Word of God, the Bible, Jesus exists, God, and I will not do it justice because it's so complex, but he believes that the Bible, God, the story of Jesus, all the stories in the Bible is all kind of metaphorical. Like none of it happened, but it's all a metaphor for God in us. Like he's like, you are God, which feels like, but when you actually pick apart some of the Bible scriptures, right? It's like God is alive in you. It's in you. He's in you. Like, you have the power. So it's like, maybe. And so he pulls out all of these different parts of the Bible and says, this is what it means. Like Isaac and Esau, like, and all, how come every story is like there's the good son and the bad son and the good son. Like there's this like handoff, and it's like the old life and the new life, and moving into this, and so I've been kind of like, there's been enough there to keep me interested, and I feel like I'm just kind of like listening to, and it's like it would be like I don't know, reading the Bhagavad Gita, I don't know how you say that word, but, like Buddhism, it feels like slightly dangerous, because I've still got that old programming that this is like, you know, heresy or something like that.
Well, I was thinking after our last conversation regarding Joe Dispenza and how it can sometimes trigger the old prosperity teaching that we were into back in the day, the old Kenneth Copeland. And I think, not that I've done a massive deep dive into Joe Dispenza. I have not read his book. I've just listened to podcasts by him, so I don't know his body of work completely. But I think what I realized, what doesn't resonate with me and what possibly triggers me from our past, is the prosperity teaching was all about gain, gain, gain. Whereas I think what I found refreshing about Buddha's teaching is it's that there's seasons of gain and there's seasons of loss, and both of them have value. And so you can't, even in nature, you can't gain and gain, because as it becomes a problem, the weeds take over, and constantly being in a season of growth actually ends up being detrimental. And I think the faith teaching, the reason why it's not really realistic is because naturally there's always a time where things go to ground, and there's always a time where you go through a season of loss. And that's actually, in nature, it's very, very healthy for winter to come. You rest from your hard labor, things go to ground, and then in the spring it's new growth, and then you rev back up again, and it's go, go, go. And this, so I think one of the most famous phrases of Buddha is everything that arises also falls away, nothing lasts. And when you're in a hard season, you can reassure yourself it won't last. When you're in a good season, it won't last, because there's this ebb and flow of loss and gain. And there's so much we learn during those seasons of loss or lack of prosperity, and we do a lot of growing, and we don't learn a lot from the growth seasons. We just enjoy it, like everything's going my way. Wow. Am I learning anything from that? Not really, but I needed it. And you love it when the tide turns and you feel this flow. And I think what I'm careful about with Joe Dispenza is this. I think it's so important to change your thoughts. And he would say things that wire together, fire together. He's got these little phrases where it's like neuroplasticity, that you can retrain your thinking. But the idea that you will only prosper, and is not in keeping with life. And so where I said last time about how life's designed to go wrong, I think it's both. It's life designed to go right and life is designed to go wrong. Creation is just a real mashup of gain and loss, constantly decay, new birth, they die, but seeing them as bad, like I've had seasons where everything's gone to ground and nothing's working, and it doesn't mean it's not valuable. But the whole billionaire, the Jeff Bezos, prosperity, that we're kind of taught as being the top 1%, the globalists, it's nothing but growth. And you see how much that doesn't go well when, it's like, really forever growth? Is that
I haven't
good?
I mean, I haven't gleaned that from this, but I hear you. Like, I know that thing kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth. From what I've heard, it's like everything is trying to teach us something. Like if you're sick, it's why are you sick? What's sometimes you're sick because you're sick, but usually there's a cause and effect. If you're having a heart attack, it's most likely because you've lived a way too high octane life. Maybe you're
Right.
eating badly. Like there's always a cause.
Mm.
And so from what I've learned from these folks is that it's like these things are put into our lives to get our attention. And then that your job is to then find out what the lesson is.
Really? Yeah. I
So
like
it's
that.
not, yeah, so it's not like, and all of these people have people that know that they're going to die
Mm.
if death is necessarily bad.
Mm.
I think that's a new way of looking at death now. It's like
Mm.
it's not the dark void at the end of our life. It's actually it's newness. It's something else, right? It's like it's not bad. But yeah, so I mean, I don't get that. Like man, I'm reminded. Like, remember I was into Amway?
Yeah.
Jeez, man, that was like a I kind of cringe, but it actually getting into Amway taught me how to face my fears because I had to stand in front of total strangers in their living rooms and
Doing
show them
presentations.
and do a presentation. And man, it took a lot of balls.
Mm.
And that that was like so the silver lining in that for me was it pushed me out of my comfort zone, got me to
Mm.
be courageous and to um, kind of put my salesman hat on, which has served me for the rest of my life. But what I hated about the Amway, because we would listen to these tapes, and every month you get a tape, and we'd all share these tapes. And I remember like plowing fields on Mr. Bragg's farm and listening to Amway tapes, and oh my God, always Southerners.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, praise Jesus. My husband and I just pulled up here in a brand new Rolls Royce, and
Yeah.
we've got a 5,000 acre farm.
And
People,
our own
I used to be
airplane.
poor and now I am rich. And it was all about money and possessions and
Wow.
material. And it was all cloaked with this kind of God thing.
Mm.
And that is like all the pictures on all the magazines was pictures of their homes, their RVs, their
Mm.
cars, their private jets.
Talk about rubbing it in people's faces, like no discretion. Like, come on
No, but
now.
I mean, what they're trying to say is that you can have
You could
that
be
too.
this. Yeah, yeah.
I remember going to one convention. There was thousands of people believing this shit, and it
Mm.
and it doesn't take much for us humans to kind of like get excited about something, right?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, like Bitcoin,
Yeah.
sell everything, and we're just very fickle like that. But so that to me is the more grotesque kind of material. From what I picked up from this
Mm.
this kind of teaching is like
It's haunting. That
whatever
stuff's
it is for
so
you.
haunting.
Yeah, maybe it's not money. Maybe it's just health. Maybe it's just
Mm.
relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I want a husband or I want a boyfriend or
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to not be sick.
Mm.
So it's not all about monetary wealth. It's kind of like, what's that thing?
Mm.
What's the
That's
logjam?
good to hear. Because
Yeah,
I think that
I wouldn't get
it's
into that.
easy. No, I mean, it's easy from a distance to be like, oh, they're just positive gain, and I did really enjoy his podcast, so I'm not, but it's funny how you can get that impression from a distance, and then when you actually investigate, you're like, oh, that's not what it's about at all.
Mm.
But the
Yeah, I
bad
mean,
experience that we've had
yeah,
means we're so much more suspicious, like what you're saying.
we're triggered.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I don't think there's anything. You know, I just think our world is we're so attracted to the negative, like it's all going to be bad, and it's funny because I shared with Sam, who works with me. I was like, hey, dude, I kind of just shared that I feel like I'm turning a bit of a kind of corner in the way I see things and feeling more hopeful. And he's always the Eeyore, right? He's like, oh, I don't know, man. Like he's just, what's the point? Always, like um, very critical about the new thing, whereas I'm jumping on the new thing all the time. you know?
You're the enthusiast.
Oh yeah. And he's like, oh, it's so good to hear you say that because I've been feeling oh shit, Joby's kind of lost the plot and he's just thrown in the towel. Like he's
Yeah, and
defeated.
his job's on the line.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect to hear that from him, you know?
Yeah, but you're
And
going to save his bacon with your positivity.
there you go. There you go. There's always self-preservation
Yeah.
activation there. But um, so, you know, I think that, yeah, you take the good and you
Mm,
throw out the bad. And like I said last time, I just don't think the alternative was serving me at all. It was making me feel ill, making me feel
mm,
sick.
yeah.
Um, I'm not under any illusion that I'm going to be like you know, it's like,
Mm,
yeah, I look in my driveway and I've got 3 cars that are all 10, 12 years old. That to me doesn't feel like a failure. And I think if you were prosperity, yeah, that would look like a failure to you. Like there should be
right.
3 brand new cars there. But for me, I'm like, but 3 new cars doesn't make me happier. I like the quirkiness of old vehicles.
Mm,
To me, it's like a challenge and a quirk, and um, I'll take a new vehicle for sure.
mm.
But yeah, so I think it's different for everybody, I guess. And
I remember this week there's some billionaire who is on a podcast and I keep seeing clips by him and he goes on and on about how do you identify a poor person? And he said by the new car that's in their driveway.
yeah,
Because
it's
the
all borrowed.
poor are more likely to do a lease for optics and it looks like they've got more money than they have. And he's disparaging of leasing cars.
Yeah,
And he says, if you want to stay poor, just lease vehicles.
that's like
That's a sure indicator that someone's gonna go broke.
it's like Raven, my son. He has like $130,000 pickup truck that sits in his
God.
out on the road,
Yeah.
and he has a company van. He drives that car maybe 5 kilometers a week, and he's paying massive amounts in insurance and
Well,
payments.
his payments must be a grand. Oh no, well
More
over.
than a
You're
grand.
looking at 1,500
Oh,
for a
yeah.
lease.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Man, more than a mortgage.
More than
Well, out
it
here it
depends
would
where
be
you
more
live.
than. Yeah, here it would be more than a mortgage.
But a nice rental, you know, house.
Yeah, yeah. If he was putting that away into savings, he could probably put a deposit on a house.
I know, and I hear him all the time. Raven, if you're listening, hope you don't mind, but I hear him all the time. He's like, you know, I know I got an expensive truck. I know most people look at me and think I'm crazy, but you know, he convinces himself that it was a good idea still. Like you have to do that as humans, right?
Because
Like,
he's locked in now.
yeah, like I had the jab, but I
Yeah.
think for me it was a good idea. You know, you just tell yourself that whatever you did was a good idea because you can't look in the mirror otherwise. And so he convinces himself that, but I like sitting in it.
Raven,
And
if you're listening, just put that money aside and you can save up for it. But listen to Auntie Abigail.
Yeah.
I can tell you how badly this can go wrong. Just privately message me and I'll tell you how badly leases can go wrong because I've seen this firsthand now.
Yeah, we were doing a bottle drive yesterday because Amelia is going to do a student exchange to Germany.
She's doing it. Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, even that, right? Like that's a $5,000 investment for me as a parent. And I felt like this, like when it came across my desk, as it were, this is happening. I was just coming out of the, oh my God, we've got to tighten the belt. We've got to
Mm,
can't eat out at all, eat at home, you know, all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
And I just decided to not whine about it. I was just like, I'm not going to say anything negative about this. Like, oh my God, I don't know how we're going to afford this. $5,000, $5,000, blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
And because it is a really good thing for her, like as far as a
mm,
person to go travel at that
yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And the church and the school does do like fundraising, right?
Mm,
And it's like, I kind of know in the back of my head, I know she's going anyway
mm.
because Tara will get her way. But I just decided to not bitch about it,
Mm,
not be a whiny bitch about it, and
yeah.
just accept what is. And I'm like, it's kind of nicer than being the
Mm,
tyrant, being the miserable Scrooge tyrant that, you know. And even these guys, you know, these guys that I'm listening to, like, don't go and spend money you don't have. Like, don't go and like, just because you feel like you're going to be blessed doesn't mean you go out and buy a house way beyond your means. Like that's not smart.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were doing this bottle drive yesterday to raise money. And this guy in front of me was also on the drive, and he had a brand new electric pickup truck. He was a contractor, and I have my big rumbling diesel behind him, right? And I walked up to him and said, "Hey, just make sure we're not doing the same bottle run." And he's like, "No." I'm like, "How do you like this truck?" He's like, "Oh, I love it, man. I drove to Nanaimo and back, and it cost me $12, whereas for me it would cost me $100."
Wow.
And he's like, and I just see it is electronic central. Like everything is electric. The mirror doesn't just reflect what's behind you. It displays it. And you think, how much Wi-Fi is buzzing around in that fucking thing? Like, it's just like a tin can full of like energy. And, I'm like, well, that would be really nice. But I should plug it into ChatGPT and say, how long would it take you to be kind of like, you spend it's probably $140,000 vehicle, work truck, how you're paying $12 to go 200 kilometers.
How much is his lease?
How much is the lease, and how long does it take you to then reach the place of fluidity where it's actually evens out?
Worth it, cost effective.
Yeah,
in 10 years' time when it starts falling apart.
Well, yeah, and if you have to replace the batteries on there, you're going to be $40,000-$50,000 probably. It's the most expensive part of the vehicle. We bought a 12-year-old Prius the other day. The Toyota. The taxi.
I love them. That's what Sapphire's got. She absolutely loves it.
Yeah,
because it charges as you're driving too. Does yours charge as it drives? It's kind of hybrid.
Yeah. So I could have it cost me $5,000, right? And Tara loves it. It's actually a really
spacious.
And there's so much storage.
Yeah,
and,
it's incredible. You could fit a couch in it.
Yeah, and there's like chargers everywhere. I've got a Volkswagen that a four-cylinder Volt, and it's just like one charger, nowhere to put anything. Where do I put my glasses? Nowhere.
In the Toyota Prius, it's full of what would they call it? Yeah, just like it's overwhelming the amount of features on it.
Yeah, and you can
it's
just
like an aircraft.
This beautiful view of everything. Like you're not kind of like down.
Well, I listened to this because I sent it to her, this mechanic who has muscle cars. And he said, if I wasn't so into muscle cars, I would always choose a Toyota Prius. You just cannot beat the efficiency. There's nothing that goes wrong. They last forever. They're amazing.
Yeah, you do a million miles on them, right?
Oh my goodness, they're incredible and just massive. They're high, a giant could get in there and feel comfortable.
Gabe calls them a lesbian car.
That's so funny.
They're not flashy.
No.
But the funny thing is like, okay, $5,000. We bought that because my truck is so expensive to run at the moment, my pickup, and we did a little run around. It's like, how many fills up with my big truck would it take to make that? But there's something about driving a cheaper vehicle. It just makes me feel less stressed out.
Satisfying.
Well, it's just like, it might made more sense just to keep driving my truck. And like, how long would it take to put $5,000 worth of fuel in there? Well, actually, nowadays, not much. It costs $300 to fill it up.
Unbelievable.
Like Joseph's truck probably costs $250.
It's a Chevy, and I think that they are quite efficient, but I would imagine it's close to 200, at least.
With today's prices.
I can share this because this is a bit of a funny story. In our divorce proceedings, he obviously wants the truck to be paid off, and I think it's depreciated to something like $74,000 now. And that was bought 2 years ago. And our mediator said, yes, that truck could be paid off, which is what he really desperately wants. However, you will have to buy her out of the equity. So you will have to give her half of the money back to buy her out of it. And you purchased it 5 days before your separation, and you purchased it at $87,000. So you're going to have to give her half of that. Even
and it is the reason we're getting divorced.
Yeah, this truck.
Got the
and
truck.
He goes
2 days later, get divorced.
Yeah. Oh, then all of a sudden, And then he said, yeah, but she's going to have to give me half of what her car's worth. And my car's worth $3,000. So the guy said, yeah, she'll have to give you $1,500. And you're like, oh. So that collapsed that argument, because what's the point? He's going to have to give me half of 87,000 to buy me out I'm owed that equity. And he bought it right when it was premium. Now it's depreciated something like, I think it depreciates at least 20 grand a year. Look, when you drive it off the forecourt, it goes down by 15 grand, doesn't it? Its value. So actually,
These
I
new
think
vehicles
it's worth
are
less.
like such an ego polish, right? Like,
oh my goodness.
like why? I've had new vehicles, but they've been leased, and it was the best tax write-off for my company. So that was why I did it. And I also was so busy that I could not afford to have a vehicle that didn't start in the morning. But now everything is owned. But yeah, it's weird.
I don't look at anyone with a flashy vehicle with any amount of envy whatsoever. No. And I'm also cleaning a lot of houses now for rich people with massive houses. And there is not one speck of envy for what they have. Because all I do is look around and go, you're basically paying for air that you're not using. You know, this is how much is it? No one's in the house because they're so busy working, paying for the house. So the house is got huge overheads and no one's there. And to me, it's just nothing about it appeals to me. So I don't have any envy for these people that are trying desperately to make these payments and need the new vehicle and the rat race and the zeros. And it's just like, you talk to them, they've got all the same problems that anyone would have. It's all the same, except for them, their kids are in hockey, their girls in cheer, they're just running around like maniacs and eating dinner on the go and drive through, and you know, it's just wow. They've got a lot to complain about.
Yeah, and some people, like we ride bikes with this family, and I don't know their financial situation, but it would appear to me that they just don't have a problem with borrowing money, like just charging the car. They got brand new truck, 2 brand new trucks, massive house, brand new 4-wheeler, brand new boat, brand new, everything's brand spanking new, nothing's used, brand new bikes.
Wow.
You know,
so inefficient.
And you think, yeah, they just, probably he's got some really good job security, 2 incomes, that makes a big difference, but just their some people's palate for borrowing just doesn't phase them. Just remortgage the house. I think they remortgage the house to buy the boat. You know, whereas I get really nervous about that. I don't like owing at all. But it's funny, like being in Vancouver, I used to live there, but I'm like, I need to keep my mouth shut to my clients, not persuade them to move to the island, because I just see so much. Like, I went to this one house and it was just like they were living in a shoebox, you know, like so tight, and kids, and like there was no room to do anything. And I drive away from there and think, why are you here? It seems like you work online.
Wow.
You know, they said their upstairs is so cold in the winter that they all have to wear like 3-4 coats because they can't afford to insulate. But they live in a house that's like in the richest part of Vancouver, in Dunderave. So it's like, he's working in one bedroom, she's working in another, scraping, you know, just like, and I'm like, you know,
what are you guys doing?
If you sold this house, you could buy like a massive house and have it paid off in another part of, but it's this weird kind of like, and I drive around that city and I'm like, this place is so tight. But are
you in disbelief that you endured it so long?
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, it didn't seem, I mean, it has gotten worse. There's so much density there now. But we did live in a beautiful part of the city in North Vancouver, so there was that escape. So for Tara and the kids, it wasn't really that bad because they never really left the North Shore. But for me, I was driving all around the city all the time. And
you were miserable.
Yeah, but I talked to my son. I'm like, how do you do this, dude? Every day, like I'm losing my mind. Like,
and it's like, one day.
I was like, and I'm driving I've got 6 appointments to make, and then I have to make a ferry home, right? So it's like,
Mm.
and I'm driving to this one house, and I have to make it on time so I can make to the next appointment. And I get within 2 minutes of the house, and because my car's so old, the charger wasn't actually charging my phone. My phone just goes boom, and it's like deep sleep, right? And I'm like, the house could literally be that one right there, and I have no idea. I am totally fucked. So I had to like rip around, find a London Drugs, go in there, try and find a charger, come back, wait for my phone to like, come on, charge up, and then go all the way back. And it was like, and then Raven, my son, who lives in Vancouver, I'm like, how do you do this, man? And he's like, you just get used to it. You just kind of zone out, and you just use. But I have your car's a stick shift, right?
No, mine's automatic.
Right. So the car I'm driving is a stick shift, and
Okay.
my left leg was like, because it's
Really
stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. Horrible.
amazing. You've gotten so used to country life. You're a farmer.
Yeah, I'm a farmer.
All right, you are my love. Every time I drop Wilfie off at school, as he gets out, I say as loud as I can, right, you are my love. And I do a Cornish accent, and he secretly loves it. Because our favourite movie is Hot Fuzz, which is a very British movie. So we know the entire script. So the aim is, within our day, how many Hot Fuzz quotes can we drop? And that's one of them. Right, you are my lover. But anyway, I will do it. And the aim is to do it so that no one can actually understand what you're saying. And no Canadian would know what we were saying.
It's Cornish, for those of you who don't know. It's
Cornish. But I try and say it as loud as possible so he gets as embarrassed as possible. And then if I don't say it, he goes, are you going to say it? So he secretly likes it. But it's quite funny.
I have this nugget. I listened to this little, what would you call it? Monologue by Rich Roll. I don't even know what Rich Roll, I know he has a podcast, but I don't know what his background is.
No, Martha would know because she's listened to him for a lot. I think she's a bit fed up of him now because he often brings things back to himself when he's interviewing. He's not a good listener, maybe. But anyway, don't know who he is, what context.
Yeah, so he was doing this monologue about his spirit animal is a turtle or tortoise.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then obviously he's referring to the tortoise and the hare, and he's like, we live in a world that is so highly tuned to instant gratification. You know, I want to do a post on Instagram. I want to see likes right away. I want to start a business and I want to be a millionaire right away. I want to have a YouTube channel and be blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you know, the tortoise wins the race at the end of the day. That's the way it always is. And so he's like, we need to start having 10-year goals instead of 10-month goals. And I was listening to this and like, oh man, this is so hard for me to digest because I'm such a, well, on this property, it's a huge challenge for me. It's a constant dialogue in my head about, I mean, I think this farm's been put into my life to teach me something. It feels like I'm in a moment of like a long moment, years of it's either going to break me or I'm going to change. You know, and I was telling Tara about this Rich Roll monologue, and I was like, you know, it's so hard for me to think that way. Like to actually, you know, like, yeah, like in 10 years, we want this place to look pretty cool and done. I'm like, every morning it has to be done today. There's that mess, that mess, that mess, that mess, that mess, that mess, that thing to fix, that thing to fix. And for an ADD brain, which is what I have, and I wish I could say a different word than ADD because I think it's just so fucking overused. But it is like a mountain of cocaine to a cocaine addict. Like if I lived in an apartment, then it'd be, I'd wake up in the morning and there'd be different things to worry about, but it wouldn't be like fix that, fix that, fix that, fix that.
Well, you've got probably the most challenging thing anyone could have because you've got weeds that are growing like in the summer where it's just, you must be like, fuck off these things just keep growing back.
Even Sarah, who is the most tempered. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, we got in a bit of a spat because she cooked bacon, and I was like, "You got to put the fan on when you cook bacon because the alarm goes off."
Yeah.
And then it's like happens over and over again. So she cooks bacon, beep, beep, and then we wanted the kids to sleep in. Of course, all the kids are awake now because there's alarms in their bedrooms. Triggers the whole house.
Wow.
And I was like, I was pissed off because I was like, I knew Amelia needed to sleep in, and she's like, we all make mistakes, you know. And she's like, you don't have to get mad. I'm like, well, it's just an emotion. I'm just expressing myself. Like,
yeah.
But because she has had no siblings growing up, that kind of like loudness or boisterous, it's like so foreign because our house was so tempered and quiet and just suppressed. And but when it comes to weeds, she's like fucking horsetail. Like horsetail is the big weed over here. But
mine is goat weed, just unbelievably aggressive weeds that when you see it, you motherfucker, I gotta get you. And then the root will
morning
break
glory.
off.
Do you get that?
We get morning glory, but this goat weed is unbelievably aggressive. And once it's there, the only way to get rid of it would be heavy plastic for years to kill the root system.
Yeah. And then microplastics all in your soil.
Yeah. And what will happen is I'll start digging down because I'm going to get the root of this motherfucker. And then it will break off. And you're just like,
and you're like, oh, you think you're going to win, excavator.
Yeah. And then I'm like,
Revenge.
oh, I've rooted up my rose bush, which is now going to die because I was trying to get to a weed to protect the rose.
I think that'd be such a good little YouTube short. I think every gardener would like, you know,
I'm going to fucking get you.
Fucking dig right across the lawn that you just laid.
Of your house.
It's kind of like the Bee Movie by, did you see that by Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
Where he literally burns the whole house down to get the fucking bee.
That is the life of a gardener. Yeah,
I think in 3 years we've kind of surrendered to the weeds. I was like, well, they kind of look like grass. Like when you cut it, it's kind of, you know, you just realize that there is no way. And then when the rain comes, usually farmers are like, oh, we need the rain. It's like, oh my God, weeds will be on steroids tomorrow. You know,
it's
like
incredible.
We have a goat gate, right, to go and feed the goats. I open 3 or 4 times a day. So I fed the goats in the morning. I went there in the evening to go in and check for chicken eggs because the chickens don't lay in this lovely chicken house I made. They go lay in the goat's house.
Right. Okay. I thought they were laying in one box.
Why not? You have to surrender. It's like the order. It just can't be order. It's just like they will do what they want to do.
Chaos.
It's constantly breaking my need for order. So I go to the gate and I'm like, Gabe, look at this. And literally from the morning to the evening, a weed had gone over and wound itself around the gate. So that's like 4 or 5 hours.
Incredible. It's like an alien.
Yeah.
It's sinister. It's coming for you. Yeah.
So yeah, the what were we talking about? The 10-year goal. Yeah. The ADD thing, the kind of having to fix it all. Yeah, it's challenging. It's really challenging. I feel like I want to fix it because I don't feel it's the farm's problem. It's it's in here, you know, and I feel like a broken record, but you know, so I tend to, Tara's like, oh, what have you thought of just like stepping away and just like having a breather and thinking about what you're doing? It's like, yeah, lots.
Don't come to me with your cliche ideas.
Have you ever asked a heroin addict? Have you ever thought of not injecting that into your veins every day?
I don't identify with addicts until about 2 months ago when I started doing more cleaning for people. And I've always cleaned with vinegar and used all natural products. But my cleaner buddy is much more chemical. You know, yeah.
Febreze.
Would you remember Wedge? It's a spray you put on wood and it makes it really slick and shiny. Wedge. Yeah. So she'll bring out the Wedge, and I've got my vinegar. Yeah, I've got my rubber gloves. But when we mop, she started putting in this Lysol lavender floor cleaner. and you pour a cap in and you mop the floor. And I started doing this, but I started to look forward to it more and more. So I'll do the mopping. I want to mop. And I couldn't. And then I started to realize it was the smell of the Lysol that I just craved. This smell. It's an incredible, like, oh, it's so amazing. You can just get it at Walmart. You can even get it from Dollarama. It's just Lysol floor cleaner that's lavender, but it's got that chemical. It's not just natural lavender, it's chemical lavender. And I started to wake in the night wanting to smell the smell. I'd be like, I just want to smell it. And then I had a little cup by the sink with the floor cleaner in, so that when I'm washing dishes, I'd just get a little smell of it. And now I'm around it every day, but I think about this floor cleaner. So I'll be doing gardening going, is there anything I can mop? Is there any reason for me to have an excuse? Because now I've got little bottles in each bathroom where I've diluted it and put it into a spray so that I can clean. I'm like, is that a speck of, did someone spill some tea? And I'll get out the mop and I used to go for months without mopping my floors. I've never been really one for mopping, but now any excuse to mop, and I'm out there and the kids are just lifting up their legs and I'm mopping. And that's the first addiction I've ever had.
What?
I am. And then one night I was thinking, well, there's obviously a chemical in there that's probably addictive and harmful. So I got up in the morning, but now I need reading glasses. I couldn't read the print. So I was like, well, I can't see what it says anyway. So I don't actually know. But you know how strong, like, kills 99.9% of all germs.
Yeah.
And people are saying, well, if that's the only addiction you've had and got, it's no problem. But I'm now thinking, how harmful is smell? Because people do glue sniffing, and I imagine it causes problems.
Well,
I don't get high off it. I just absolutely adore. And I think about this. I think about it because I'll be gardening going,
it's so weird.
I'm going to have to take a break and just, find a reason to use this.
Really?
Yes. So in the nighttime before I sit down and like watch a show,
Abigail's Lysol addiction.
Yeah, I'll spray down the sink, and so that it's sparkling clean. I never had a clean sink. Now my sink is the most silver polished sink you've ever seen.
Not because you like the clean sink, you just want to smell.
I do
Lysol.
like the clean show, but it's an excuse to smell the Lysol. So I'll spray it, and then that's my evening. Like, I got to smell it for a bit before bed, and
that's going to be the thumbnail on this podcast. Abigail
so
come to terms with her
weird.
Lysol addiction.
But now I'm thinking, imagine if I really so cigarette addiction or any addiction, the amount of moments that I'm like, oh, I just want to smell it. I just want to smell it. What it must feel like to an addict to have this ever-present
it's gotta be
craving
awful.
To just like, and to find excuses, because I'm making excuses to use it. And I can't imagine how kind of enslaved a person must feel when they are locked into an addiction.
Well, these alcoholics, they say for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
It's one day at a time. For the rest of your life, it's like I'm one drink away from being back to where I was. Oh.
Unreal, like white knuckling your way through life. And what was it? Andrew Huberman had this brilliant quote. He said, it doesn't matter how far down the road you are, you're always the same distance from the ditch. So an addict will always be an addict and could always at any moment slip into the ditch.
I'm a full-on productivity addict. Like, if I think now, right now, of after we've done here to just sit around for the rest of the day, it's an impossible thought for me. Impossible. I just can't. I just cannot. I could not do that. So I'm a productivity addict for sure.
Yeah.
Like Tara, yesterday morning, she had to take Gabe to mountain biking, and I was going to take Emil on a border drive. So she left at 9, and I had to leave the house at 9:30. So that's a 30-minute gap. I look at her Prius, and it needs a tow hitch, right? So she leaves. I'm in my pajamas still, and I've already ordered the tow hitch. So it's sitting in the sea can. I look at it. The thought comes into my head. Next second, socket set on the floor. I'm lying on the floor, and in half an hour, I had taken off the bottom of her back of her car and installed a really heavy tow hitch.
I'm actually disappointed. I was hoping you'd say you built a shed in 30 minutes.
Well, if you knew what was involved in putting a tow hitch on, it's like getting rusty bolts off, cleaning it out, taking the undercarriage off, and then trying to hold this bloody heavy thing one-handed.
With a broken back.
And I'm like, my God, there's 10 more minutes to go. I could just leave it half done, go do the bottom drive, come back and finish it.
But part of the game is finishing it.
Yeah, and so then I walk away, and it's the same way I'm sure an alcoholic feels after they've hit the bottle again. It's like so disappointed in themselves. So in the midst of it, I can't get out of it because I'm in this frenzy of finishing it.
Yeah.
I stop, and I'm like out of breath, slightly wound up inside, look at it, and I don't think, yeah, I did that. I'm like, oh, fuck, you fucking did it again, didn't you?
Again.
You got sucked into the cramming. You know, I was saying to my friend, I was like, you know, I want to do a thing on the way to doing the thing and then try and fit another thing in front of that thing before I get to the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's chaos.
It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah. So like a 10-year goal, what would that feel like?
I wonder whether you also get a little bit of a dopamine release when you think of the thing. So you see the thing on the floor there, or, you know, you see you can. And there's got to be something that gets released that makes you want to do it, even if later you get a drop from disappointing yourself. But for example, people who, the cocaine addicts, I've heard them say the best part is driving to the dealer's house because the anticipation and this is really happening now. And then the not so great thing is actually getting the hit. And then there's the come down. But the best part is the drive. And I wonder whether something happens where there's this insatiable desire to do the thing. And then midway through, you're already coming down because you're like, I'm locked in. This is stressful. This isn't fun anymore, but I have to do the thing. And then afterwards, you're disappointed with yourself. So it's like this cycle of,
for me, it's like my list, which I know will never end. It's like one more, like I got back from the bottle drive and I looked at my truck. I'm like, it needs an oil change, but I really wanted to go do the gardening thing that we needed to be done today. I think I could do the oil change too. All of a sudden, fucking oil's pouring out, doing all the thing, you know, and I'm like, for me, and so I've raised the bar so high that at the end of my day, if I haven't done like 5 or 6 major tasks, it feels like a bit of a no go. Yeah, the day was kind of a bit of a,
yeah.
You know, but it's like, what did I do today? Oh yeah, I changed it all in the truck. I put a tow hitch on the car. I dug it to thing. I fixed the roof, did that. Oh yeah, got a lot done. But the reality is like with the guy that's getting the cocaine fix, he thinks on the way to getting his drugs that it's just one more. It's just one. This is my last hit. And after this, I'm done. And then after it, he goes through remorse. And the next day wakes up and think, oh, I think I want more. You know, and so you look out and in actual fact, the payoff that you think is there, which is like, there's one more thing that's faded off of my list. Yes, 3 more just got added. When I look out, what I see is just a list.
Well, I think what you're saying is people lie to themselves and say, just, I'll do the one more and then I'll be good and then I'll start relaxing or I won't have cocaine anymore or one more cigarette. And they're not honest about who they are and go, just no, I can't. You know, that's such a huge battle. And I wonder actually what it sounds like more with you. And I've wondered about this myself is more OCD rather than, you know, the OCD element is, and this is what I'm finding in myself, is I think given all the chaos that's gone on in my life the last 2 years, this cleaning thing, my obsession with cleaning has really stepped up a notch. And I think that my way of dealing with things that I can't control is to control my environment by being ultra cleanly, like ultra clean. And I have this craving, like I'll be on the the last couple nights, I'm watching a movie going, I just want to unscrew. You know how, this is gross, but toilet seats get pretty disgusting. And the screws at the back are like really disgusting. So I was watching a movie and I was like, I really just want to unscrew the toilet seat and just bleach it and make sure it's clean all the way through. I've never done that. I desperately want to. And I just stopped the movie and did it because I just wanted to do it so
we
badly.
are the same people.
And then I put it back on and I felt satisfaction. But part of the OCD thing is that need to kind of control your environment, but also the relief of a job well done. You know, so I'll be sitting there and be like, no, I want to clean the sink before I sit down and watch a movie. And me and Martha talk about this because she's getting really into cleaning products as well. So we're like, have you tried this? Such a middle-aged conversation. Well, I find just a dash of hydrogen peroxide. So she gets it as well because, you know, you go through these seasons where you have no control over the weeds, over my legal situation, over other people's choices. But I can organize my space and I can control the clean and everything's just so. And I will get up in the morning and make sure when the kids get up, the kitchen is spotless and the sink is shining and dazzling. And I can control that.
It's like David Beckham. Have you seen that documentary?
Yeah. Oh, he's got OCD.
Snips all of the candles.
Yeah.
Polishes everything.
And he has all his clothes color coordinated, but he has one of those. Yeah,
and his garden is perfect.
Yeah, the wick trimmers for his candles. Like every evening when everyone goes to bed, he goes around the whole house trimming the wick of the candle. It's just everything's just so. And
I think we all have our spot that needs to be like that, right? It is
not if you don't have OCD. Like I think a lot of people are not that bothered because I've lived with them.
Oh yeah, my wife is not that bothered.
My ex was not that bothered, and I think also from my point of view, because I've gone through things that I'm now recognizing as being, you know, they say that when you go through a divorce, one of the overriding emotions is a sense of disgust for the other person, for the situation. And one way of dealing with that disgust is to control your space and, you know, have certain things that you want to have. You're very particular. And I think my response to the sense of disgust is to control my environment by making it ultra, ultra organized and clean. And thinking about things like almost fantasizing, I'm going to clean out that cupboard and I'm going to clean right to the back. And I'm going to clean the wall on the back. And I'm like, I can't stop it. I have to do it now. I just want this so much. And doing it, and then a job well done that I could control the outcome of that. So I wonder whether your response to the chaos of the farm is to have these zones of control where you can, like, manageable areas that you can control, but there's just too many. Your inbox is too full.
Yeah, like it's not. Yeah, there's not one or two. There's like 50, and so everywhere. Like I'm talking to Tara and having a drink of tea, and I can see a tarp that's like not quite even covering something.
That is so OCD.
Yeah, so in the middle of the conversation, obviously while she's talking,
hold that thought.
I just walk away, straight to the tarp. She's used to it. She would just start talking louder. Yeah. And I'm like, and I can tell, and I said to myself, I'm just doing it right now. I'm talking about the thing, and then I'm doing the thing. Yeah. But
because it's like just slightly lopsided.
We have this massive chest freezer, and it's filled to the brim.
I can imagine.
And I'm like, I actually had to go to Tara's mom and say, like, well, I think I maybe dropped a hint, because Tara's mom is such a clean freak. Like, she's like, clean. Like when I was doing her kitchen, it's like, how am I going to clean behind that? I was like, what? Well, if you do that thing, how am I going to clean behind it? Dirt's going to get caught up there. It's like,
right.
Who cares?
You're not going to see
it. Looks cool. Yeah. But for her, it's a huge deal. Like, I go to lots of houses and they're like, I don't want any grout lines. I'm like, why? Because I can't clean them. It's going to look awful. Don't care.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, so then the freezer, I'm like, please. Like, I would just rather just throw it all away and just
Right.
have an empty freezer. It's just, there's a deer hide in there. It's been in there for 4 years.
There's probably
There's a
an
dead
eagle's
rabbit.
wing. An
There's
eagle's wing.
yeah, an eagle's wing. There's a rabbit. Oh
All
my
the things that you had
God.
to hide from Amelia that died on the farm.
And then Tara goes she was gone for 7 days. And so Amelia's big time. Like, she comes home from school, she'll drop her bag on the floor, immediately turn on the Roomba, which is like so loud, it just grates me, the little vacuum that goes around the house.
Oh, okay.
And then sweep and then clean. And then before I've got her home from school, she's like, I'm guessing the house is a mess. So she has to do those things. And she's like, I'm the only one that cleans. I'm like, Amelia, that's bullshit. I clean all the time. You just don't see it. But she's like, so much cleaner when Mom's not here. Because when when I cook, I clean as I cook.
Right, me too.
Yeah. So I'll use a bowl. Like, I will strain the potatoes, put them back on the bowl immediately, because it's really hard to clean a strainer after it's dried.
Off the potatoes? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll clean it, put it straight on the rack. I'll use a bowl, I'll clean it. So at the end of cooking, there is
you sit down and the kitchen's clean.
Yeah, whereas Tara will just stack up all of the bowls. The sink will be full, and then they'll probably sit there for 2 or 3 days, and then there'll be a big cleaning episode.
So does her and Amelia, is there a contention between those two?
Amelia bosses her around more than I like. Yeah.
Right.
Mom, can you clean this up? And I mean, Tara's gotten a lot better. When I first met her, I remember going into her bedroom in her house. We were just dating, and there was just like I called her the piler. It was like a pile of CDs that was like this, going all the way out about 4 feet off the ground. Then there was a pile of books. Then there's a pile of laundry, a pile of nothing was put away. It's just like all these different piles. So she'll be, and when I'm dead and gone, she'll probably have like 4 or 5 cats, and just people love our house because there's stuff everywhere. They think it's so interesting. But for an OCD person, it makes me itchy.
Well, that's what I've loved about now not being married, is that I can run the house the way I want, and it's actually so much easier because everything's orderly, and I don't have the chaos that was so stressful for me to manage and to deal with. So all the things of like, oh, isn't it harder like raising 3 kids on your own? Nope. My workload is halved. So there's so many things that I appreciate about it. But obviously for some couples, they have a good rhythm and they are complementary. But for me, that need for order was very, very stressful when you've got someone who's quite cluttered and chaotic.
Do you ever like cast your mind to when, like, I find I do this a lot. I see a thing that is going on in me that I don't like so much. And because I'm closer to death than I've ever been, like I'm halfway through my life, probably, I see myself acting out this little game that I play as an older person. And I wonder, and then I wonder if I like that or not. Because, you look at a lot of old people and you kind of think, oh, it's kind of, their house is way too clean and there's nothing anywhere.
Right.
And and so I kind of, I think of how hard I work, for instance. I mean, I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't achievable for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to have regrets getting older. Like, I wish I'd slowed down. I wish I'd, because you realize living on a property that the jungle just takes everything back. You just realize, like, what is the point of all of this, like, tidying? It's kind of good in a way, but it's like, no one else gives a shit. You give a shit, but no one else cares, you know? And
what I see in retirement is when the kids leave home, couples get into a completely different rhythm that's quite out of character for how they've been up until that point. Or not even retirement, like when I see couples take on roles that were difficult before that are now, because it's just the two of them, it's just not, they're not baking cookies and making big meals, and there's less tension because they've both got time. And, I don't think the reason you're in like peak moment where you've got a house full and you're trying to make money and the kids are in school and clubs and stuff, and it's like maximum stress. And then all of a sudden they grow up and then you might go, well, I'm happy to do all the cleaning and clean up after Tara because the mess isn't actually that bad and it's just the two of us and it's totally manageable. And what else have I got to do? Like, a completely different mindset can kick in when you don't have all those stresses. I think the hardest part is when you're at like peak stress, which lasts about 20 years. And it's hard to think that you're
pretty massive, isn't it?
Like this 20-year chunk. And then, of course, now I'm going, I don't want this to end because it's so much more manageable on my own. And, and we talked last time about, me enjoying not being married. And it's funny because I've thought about it since, and I thought it's not that you sent me that podcast about why Generation X women hate men, and I listened to some of it. I listened to about half of it. But I thought the title was a bit, because I don't, I've always enjoyed like my friendships with men and connecting with you. And it's, I wouldn't say I'm disillusioned with men. I think that it's more a relationship wouldn't serve me in any way at this point in my life. I might change, but what I'm starting to realize is how little there is incentive to be with anyone. And they kind of spoke to that a bit, where basically people are getting to that point where they're like, well, what am I getting? Like, how is this going to serve me and benefit me?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, and I think for raising children and having children, obviously I'm in that situation where I don't need children. I would not say to my girls, don't get married, don't have kids. I would absolutely say, certainly have children. But it's just interesting because I think what we're talking about in any aspect, like when you're talking about, your drive, it's all like you say, this is about your inner journey. It's not about the farm. The farm's just a symptom. This farm's just a trigger. It's not the original trigger. But when you heal the parts of yourself, so for me, I don't feel I need to be seen. I don't feel I need to be validated. I don't need to be chosen. That the deprivation or the deficit driven behavior that often drives you into relationships, because you're like, I can't be alone. I need to be chosen. I need to be seen, whatever. Once you heal that part of yourself, then it's like, oh, why do I need a relationship again? And I wonder whether if you healed that part of yourself that needs to, whether it's achieve or, this inner journey, your attitude towards your life situation might dramatically alter. And this is what people say is, for example, when you are constantly getting into bad relationships, you will be attracted to the wrong kind of person because your nervous system will resonate with that type of person. And unless you heal yourself, you're never going to find a quality partner because it's actually driven by your own deficit and wound that hasn't healed. So if you healed that part of yourself, that whatever you would articulate it as, the bit that you're talking about, whatever the word is, your attitude would automatically, and this is what I found, I've healed the part of myself that needs to be chosen. Therefore, my attitude towards being alone has entirely changed. And I didn't even need to do any journey there.
Mm-hmm.
You blocked up the dam further upstream, the water's going to stop. Mm-hmm. So the core, the root, the actual, like, the epicenter of whether it's a wound or a deficit or whatever it is, or an inbuilt human, I think certainly what I've journeyed through is just a normal human thing, like the need for companionship or whatever. And now I've healed that part of me that needs to be seen or whatever. That part of you that needs to be healed, if you heal that, automatically your attitude towards every aspect of your life would shift. I believe that. And that's what basically Joe Dispenza's pointing to, or this Neville guy, is probably like, you reprogram yourself. You don't even have to think about jobs on the farm with the same, you don't have to white knuckle. You'll just start waking up going, I haven't even thought about jobs and it's mid-morning. That's weird. Because I'm seeing that in myself. And this is where neuroplasticity is so incredible, that you can change.
Yeah, you can.
Where I'll suddenly realize, I haven't thought about this thing for days, and that thing used to be ever present. If I woke in the night, it would be there. When I wake in the morning, it's a pang. And then it just starts to fade, because this addiction to it and this hold that it's got on you gradually fades. And what's incredible about the mind is that it can reprogram, and all of a sudden you don't think those thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing about reprogramming yourself, and such an achievement halfway through your life to actually change direction and have meaningful
you can
change.
teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And
that's think what I'm realizing.
I think one thing I learned in meditation, it was like noticing that there is an option to come away from the noise in your head is the act of meditation. Just noticing that, I got lost in my thoughts again. 90% of people don't even know that that's even an option to get out of your head. So I think that, the encouraging thing should be, I think, that if you are focused on, every time I wake up in the morning, I'm stressed about money. If you keep on focusing on that being a thing, it will fix itself. If you just say, this is just the way I am, then that's just the way it will be for the rest of your life. But I know that with whatever I'm going through with this, whether it's OCD or ADD or, I'm reminded as you're talking of listening to Robbie Williams, the old pop star. It's like, he had to come to terms with who am I when I'm not writing number one hits? Who's this guy? And I think that part of my problem is I don't know who Joby is when he's not doing great things. Like getting a month's work done in 2 days is what I've done for most of my life, turning massive corners. And I don't know how it would feel to just lay in bed until 12 o'clock and just not cut the grass and just let it go one more week. I don't know who that person is, but I want to find him, because what I really notice, and this is like casting your mind forward to when you're getting old. The most important thing to me, when I actually zoom back and say, how do I want my last 50 years to look like? It's relationships, friendships, people. It's like, what makes a full life to me is not having a complete farm in actual fact. A fulfilling life would be like going on holiday with friends, camping, community, right? Like, that really is like when you drive past a house and it just looks so fucking sterile and perfect and nothing's happening. The curtains were closed yesterday and they're closed again today, and they'll be closed, and everything looks like the way it's always looked. I look at that and feel sad. Whereas when I drive past the house and I see people on the lawn and, action, you know what I mean? It might not be what's going on in the house, but that to me feels like that's really what it's all about. If I let this farm just grow to the brambles and just let it go, no one would actually give a shit except me.
And the funny thing is that from the outside, and I've thought this whenever we talk about it, you've already got everything you want, because you actually have that. You do have a big community around you, and you're always off doing the bike riding and the fishing and the this and the that. And one of the amazing things about that healing journey is realizing you've already arrived. And that's something that I've started to realize. I was like, I would not change anything about my life. I don't need any more than what I've got. I have arrived 100% completely. It's just maintenance of it. And I know also, obviously, it's going to go, because the kids are going to grow up and all this. And I can't handle the future. I can't handle those thoughts. And I'm not designed to handle those thoughts. But I absolutely feel like I've arrived, and it's all to do with my attitude towards it. So if you wake up worrying about money, you could white knuckle and say, I'm going to wake up thinking about flowers in the morning, and you could do a discipline, but it wouldn't be dealing with the core. What you're speaking to is basically when Robbie Williams says, I want to know who I am without performing. Really swimming upriver to find where the spring comes from. All of this stuff, like worrying about this and worrying about that, is just a byproduct of whatever that core thing is. There's something upstream that is creating this flow of thoughts that intrude. They're really intrusive thoughts, like they jump on you. We wake in the night where the adrenaline grabs you out of your sleep, and before you know it, you're already awake, but you haven't even had a thought yet. It's like it's pounced on you. I've certainly experienced a lot of that. I don't know if you have, where you wake up, but you haven't even had a thought yet,
Yeah.
but it's already on you.
Yeah.
But this is what for me, my journey was, I've had this need to be chosen. Right. So that's the thing I need to heal. And then I don't need to worry about getting into a dysfunctional relationship, because I genuinely, after this marriage ended, people would say to me, would love to see you with a great person. And I remember thinking, yeah, but I'm still programmed to be with that type of person, and I can feel it because I haven't healed the part of myself that ended up in this situation. So I'm really vulnerable for going for the exact same type of person again. And I knew that. I could feel it because I'm like, yeah, I haven't healed that wound yet. And so the journey to heal it is really what would then create a much more, well, I don't even have to think about, no, I don't want to relate. Well, no, it's not even on my radar anymore. I'm not afraid of getting into it. I'm also not interested. And I'm not tricking myself, where people will try and trick themselves into be like, I've let go, but really, no, it's just authentically, no, I don't need that anymore. It's not going to add anything to my life at this point. Because whereas, for example, when people in relationship, they give their first to their partner, and that takes up like 90% of their energy. In my position now, I can give my all to everyone else. That's way more productive. So I can give to 20 people instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
The math is way better here. Like makes way more sense to me to give to 20 instead of one.
The return is better.
You've
had kids. That's the big thing, right? Like if you was talking like this and you hadn't had children, I'd be like, oh, Abby, you're going to miss out when you're older, but you already got kids. So you get the grandkids, you get the full plate there. Your companionship is with friends. Doesn't need to be with a man. Can be with friends. So yeah, I think that I don't think you're missing out on anything.
Not in the least. But I look at your journey, and I think probably it's a similar formula where you're looking at all of these behaviors going, I wish I could stop that. But like the Robbie Williams quote is spot on, is you've got to swim upriver and find out the source of what is contributing to all of that drive that drags you out of bed when you could actually take the morning off, and find that the source of all of it is
where it began.
Yeah, of where it began.
I mean, I remember, like, I'm going to meet with Alex somewhere in England, right? And an old friend I grew up with when I was 16, and I was remembering my life back then, and I was always driven. But we used to go to the pub, and I'm trying to untangle where it began for me.
I was listening to Carl Jung, and he said, the origins of addiction are as a child not feeling worthy of love. And when a child doesn't feel worthy of love, the most easy thing to do is to lean into addiction, because it fills that hole the most efficiently initially. So addiction, the core of addiction is feeling unworthy of love. And I thought that was quite interesting, because the journey to healing addiction is to that heal that part of you that feels unworthy and was unseen and I'm not deserving. I mean, he put it way better, but there's always a very interesting core wound.
Yeah, I think for me it's like I got noticed for being the hard worker.
Yeah.
I've always loved challenge, though. I remember when I had that tree. We lived in this 400-year-old converted schoolhouse. There's a big tree at the end of our yard, and I remember building a tree house, and when it was gale force winds and raining, I would want to be in that tree house. I loved the feeling of like danger, and like I would picture that as a ship, and I knew at every part of that tree, and it would be really blowing and howling. Most kids would probably be inside because it's raining and windy, but I would climb to the top.
Yeah.
And it would be like like this.
Wow.
And I was like, how old then? I don't know, 10, maybe younger. So I've always, and I think that's a good craving. Like I've always craved
Adventure.
to yeah, like not danger in a like I want to jump off, be a freestyle mountain, and do all this crazy. It's like this maybe adventure. The odds being stacked against me. Whenever I play armies with the Gollings, I was the guy with the blown off leg crawling,
Yeah.
and my gun had one bullet in it. That's my imagination did. Instead of like I've got all the bullets and I'm the biggest, strongest guy here. I'm like the guy.
Right. You're the underdog.
I'm the underdog. Yeah, I loved that feeling. But I think I was fed at a very young age by multiple people. Joby's the guy that works hard. I mean. And I remember Guy Williams, I would work to the bone to get a smile from him. Like he had something over me. He could control. He was like a father figure. And when I didn't make him happy, it gutted me. So I think the math in my head was very quickly do over and above what's required of you. And
you'll get the reward.
And you'll
be
get the reward.
noticed.
Yeah.
But that's still the same, because I think we're all very basic. That need to be seen is an innate human need. And so I don't look at myself and go, oh, I'm different and fucked up that I need to be seen. I think it's very, very human to want to be seen. And then as your ego's developing, it gravitates towards where it gets the most reward. So for some people, it's like, oh, I'm top of my class and I get straight A's, and you get a lot of adoration for that. So the ego goes, oh, we'll go over there then. And then if you grow up hot and you become an influencer and you get applauded for looking hot, your ego goes, oh, we'll go over here then. And so achievement, that's another place. I think the ego uses the path of least resistance. It's where is the reward, and we'll just go wherever that is.
Yeah, animals
and we'll
the same
set
way,
up
right?
shop, and we're happy with that. And it's a very natural thing. And when you're young, you're just basically scrambling to try and develop your sense of being, and you're going to go where the reward is. It just makes complete sense. So
and then when you get older, you're faced with like, I don't know if this is doable for the rest of my life. Or you can do what Demi Moore's done and just like still try and look like a model. I look at her and I'm like, you don't even look like the woman I knew.
No.
Like she still feels this need to obviously look like a bombshell at like 70. I don't know.
A skeletal bombshell.
Yeah, so she's not faced that. Whereas I'm like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to do this forever anymore. It served me for a while. It got me.
Yeah.
And now
but you're maybe in that in-between decade where you're going, that's worked this far. I don't think it's healthy. I'm having questions. But other people who double down on their ego and harden it will just go right the way to death. Yeah. I've always been an achiever. I always will. But if you've got that self-awareness where you sit back and go, don't think this is working very well.
Yeah.
And you start to have self-awareness of, I don't know, I think this is the moment, isn't it, where you start to take stock. You've had a few near-death experiences. And certainly like ending a marriage gives you that opportunity, like what's not working and how did I contribute to that? It's an amazing moment to take stock and recalibrate. And, you're only going to have like 3 or 4 core wounds that every human's going to have. And it's just pretty basic, really, I wanted to be loved. My parents were absent. Everyone was too busy. I didn't feel good enough. Blah, 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 blah. It's really, really. But I think the difference is knowing it. Okay, we can talk about this, but I've known that and been aware of that for many, many years. But to actually heal that part so that I'm not deficit driven, that's another level of knowing. And that took the perfect storm of lots of different things coming together at the same time to really understand. And maybe I'll have a new layer of knowing that needs to come. Just for now, it's where it's good. But I think the frustrating thing for me is being self-aware and acutely aware of where I'm slipping up. And I think that's where you're in, where you're like, I know what the fucking problem is, but I don't know how to fix it. To heal truly and close up that wound so it's not like gaping. I think self-awareness can be really, really hard because living with cognitive dissonance, being unaware is a kind of state of bliss, like ignorance is bliss. Waking up.
That's how narcissists live.
Right.
I'm not hurting anybody.
Right. And they don't see the path of destruction, how nice it is for them. And then when you start waking up to self-awareness, there's a very uncomfortable period where you basically know what's wrong, don't know how to fix it, and you want to get better and you can feel it there and it's just there. And I think that's the hardest part actually is, you know.
You have to keep pushing. I mean, I face that with fixing a mechanical issue or a carpentry issue. If you look at it long enough and you keep trying, you will eventually, it will be like the light will shine and you'll be like, ding.
Yeah.
You just got to keep looking at it.
What's the hard thing is for example, in your case, let's say you did have ADHD. Is the light not pinging because you need to heal the wound, or is the light not pinging because there's a chemical imbalance? And if that was treated, yeah, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm all healed, perfect." That's
crazy. I was talking to my mate whose son is ADHD, and he takes Ritalin, right, which is like an upper. So for most people, it's like speed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a class A drug.
I can drink coffee. And I've had insomnia, right? Hardcore 10 years of insomnia. I can drink a big cup of coffee with caffeine in it at like 8 o'clock. And people are staring at me like, what are you doing? And I'll go straight to sleep.
At night?
Yeah.
Really?
Doesn't affect me. Because it's an upper, calms me down. I'll smoke pot. Everyone else is on the floor, like staring at the ceiling. I'm jumping off shit and singing in like hyper, you know? Even sex, like it doesn't make me fall asleep. It makes me wired. I can't get sleep after.
Huh. So you're the opposite of everyone. So I wonder how you would respond. Right. I didn't know that.
Because Ritalin is speed.
Yeah.
If you took Ritalin, or if you'd be running around like crazy. But for ADHD people, it makes them feel like calm. It's amazing, hey?
It would be fascinating if you did a test on it. But that's what I wonder with you is that you're aware, you know what the thing is, the thing's not getting better. I can see it. It's excruciating. We're all looking at it. And then, you know, if you were low in iron and that was the solution, you take the iron and you're like, oh, I guess I was just low in iron.
Yeah.
And you breathe a sigh of relief. You go, all that healing I've tried to do on myself, great, wonderful, but I actually just needed to up my iron intake and now I feel great. Yeah. And that's where I think there is a part to play in diagnosis, but you know, that's a whole other topic.
I want to talk to Jenny about that in more depth.
Yeah.
I know she's really into it down the rabbit trail. Yeah. I'm terrible at the vitamins, so I forget. Yeah. And she's religious about it, but
yeah.
Anyway.
All right, better get on.
Wrap it up. Yeah, lovely talking.
All right, love you.
Love you too,
Bye.
Abs. Bye.